Hi, this is Kim Robitaille of Two Minds, One Ride Horsemanship. Today we're going to play with a little lesson, a very useful lesson. We're going to get our horse to move their hips in from the ground, in towards us. This is a handy thing to know if you experience anything that looks something similar to this. Now, everyone who's ever owned a horse has probably experienced this at one point or another. Even if you don't own a horse, if you've ever ridden a horse, this is going to look somewhat familiar to you. It can be frustrating for some people if they're not handy at mounting from the ground and they need to use a mounting block, and that's fine. That the horse maybe at one point or another says, no, not interested. You're going to have to work for it. Okay, so then you reposition the block. How many times have you done this or seen this done? Get to the top, go to get on, the horse says, no. And horses being what they are, meaning horses really don't like to work that hard. No, they only have to take, a couple of steps to the side, and, you're not going to jump from that mounting block to get on the horse. Some people might, but most people won't. So anyway, this lesson that we're going to work on today, super simple to teach, is going to help that. So first, you're going to line your horse up next to a wall. You're going to use a dressage whip, cue your horse to walk forward. You're going to use a bridle to keep the horse from walking past you. Tap high on the horse's hip until the horse steps away from the wall. Stop tapping, and then simply repeat. Doesn't get a whole lot more simple than that, for sure. So, as you can see, I've got ice lined up next to the wall. We're walking down the length of the wall, and what I'm doing is I'm going to walk with her, make sure she doesn't walk through me, keep that bridle in contact with her. Tap on the whip, ask her to step into the pressure of the whip, and stop tapping when she does. So again, tap on her hip, she steps in, I stop tapping. Notice that we keep walking during this exercise, okay? So again, tap on the hip, she steps in, I stop tapping, keep walking. Tap on the hip, she steps in. So very, very few steps to this particular exercise. Once you've got the wall, along the wall going really well, take the horse off the wall. Practice it away from the wall, okay? And tap on the hip. When the horse steps into that tap, into that pressure, you're going to release the pressure, okay? And practice this over and over and over again. We'll give you a different look at it as I walk the horse to the camera. So you'll see I'm going to tap her on the hip. The second she steps that hip in to the left, okay, so into the pressure of the whip, ask her again, and I'm going to stop tapping, all right, and keep moving with her. All right, so you want to tap on the hip, she steps in, I stop tapping. You can't practice this enough, okay? It doesn't take a long time to teach it, but you want to spend some time. It's a great thing to play with when you're playing with your horse on the ground. For whatever reason, if you can't ride that day or you just feel like playing with your horse on the ground, this is a really cool thing to teach your horse to do. Looks really cool, too. It's not hard to do, but it looks pretty cool. Remember, horses are into pressure animals. Okay, so here we go. Now we're at the mounting block. All right, so now I'm going to try to get her ice to bring her hips to me instead of me chasing her around with that mounting block. So I'm going to tap her on the hip. She steps into it. I release the tap. And just going to continue to do that. Make sure to tap high enough on the hip. Don't tap on their leg. I've seen some horses that will kick out at that. They get a little bit annoyed at that and they'll kick into it. So make sure that you're tapping high enough on the hip and not on the horse's leg. So now what I'll do is I'm going to step her away from the block, ask her to move her hip away from the block so I can practice it again. And you can practice this as much as you want. Make it really, really solid. Okay, so Ice and I need to work on this, obviously, a little bit more. And as you practice it more, you'll find that you won't have to cue. You may give the horse one cue, and the horse will bring their hip all the way to the block. Okay. Now notice that she stepped away, and I didn't stop tapping. So my goal here is to have the horse step into that whip, into that pressure. When I tap on her hip, she steps into it. When she steps away from it, if she makes a mistake and goes away from that pressure, then I have got to keep tapping. Okay, I can't stop tapping until she steps back into it, like right there. It's the release of that pressure that teaches the horse what it is I want her to do. Okay, so If I release the tap when she's going away from the whip, I'm teaching her something entirely different. So it's when she steps into it right there, I release. Tap, step in, release. Tap, she steps in, I release. Okay? That's how you're going to get this exercise taught. So now I'm tapping high on her hip to get her to step forward a little bit. She walks a little bit too much forward, so I go back to teaching it again. Your horse, when you're training your horse, it's really cool to think about it in a way that they're never going to make a mistake. Okay? All they're going to do is give you an opportunity to practice the lesson again. And when you start to think of it like that, it changes your whole attitude about working with your horse. It makes it more fun, okay, and a lot less frustrating. So again, I'm asking her just to step forward a little bit, bring herself forward. She goes a little bit too far forward. My cue was a little bit strong there, okay, so she responded to that. So it's not just the horse that makes mistakes, okay? We're quite capable of making mistakes as well, all right? But horses are so forgiving. So again, tapping on the hip. Now she steps away. I can't stop tapping there until she steps back into it again. That's super important to know. She steps away. I keep tapping until she steps back into it again. So do not release the tap until the horse does what you want them to do. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's a really, really fun lesson to play with. It's very useful when you're out on the trail. If you happen to come off your horse, or if you have to get off your horse and you need a mounting block to get back on, you can ask the horse to move their hip towards you, to a tree stump or a fence or whatever, okay? So get out there and try some new stuff with your horse. It's fun, and to be able to control your horse's body is paramount, is key to gaining their respect. If you do it in a fair manner, in a manner that's firm yet consistent, they're going to respect that. So this is Kim Robitaille, again, John and Josh Lyons Trainer. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. We'll have many more videos coming up. We'd love to hear what you'd like to see, so let us know. Okay? Take care.